So we're also live on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. Okay, so we have 19 persons here. Feel free to share the link, get your friends to join, and we kick off right in exactly 1 minute. I'm gonna make Isaac. I'm gonna make you a co-host so you can approve new people that are joining. To avoid distraction on my own end. So you are a co-host now. So when new people are joining, just admit them so we can proceed. It's exactly 5 minutes after 3 o'clock in Dubai and 5 minutes after 12 noon in Nigeria. And I hope you all are doing well. If you can hear me loud and clear, I want you to say something on the chat box. Type I can hear you, or type anything on the chat box, put some fire emoji, and it will be a clear indication to me that you can hear me. Type something on the chat box. I can hear you. Awesome. Can I get more confirmation? Salvation, you're welcome. Who else do we have? I can hear you. Awesome. So loud and clear. Everybody can hear me. And today, I'm happy about the topic of discourse. I'm very happy about the topic of discourse, a new era for digital money. I've been so passionate about money discussions. Isaac, please approve new people as they join. Approve new people as they join. If you're not here, maybe I should. Yeah, someone is pending. All right, so just do it as fast as possible. All right, so I'm super excited about this topic because I've always been all about finance. I've been all about everything that has to do with sharing the right information. Give me a minute. I had to turn on my AC. Soon it may start getting hot. So anything that has to do with information around money and opening people's eyes about the secret of money, how to make money, where to focus your attention on, how to take advantage of situations as they happen. And this is what makes rich people rich: information. If you don't have the right information, then you are super, super, super handicapped. If you don't have the right information, you are handicapped. I mean, a blind man that have the right information is actually not blind. And a man who has eyes and can see clearly, but do not have the right information is actually blind. So you can be blind academically, you can be blind spiritually, you can be blind psychologically and otherwise. And so being able to see clearly all round is what actually makes you um, enlightened, right? Enlightened. And there's this set of people call them the Illuminati. Illuminati, they actually regard themselves as people who are enlightened, right? And if you have the right information, it gives you some level of control, power, and ability to take advantage of things as they happen. And so today's topic is a new era for digital money, right? Since 10 years ago, 13 years ago, at the advent of blockchain and cryptocurrency, everybody have been talking about blockchain being the future of money. And at some point in 2015, when I got into the cryptocurrency space, and we kept talking about blockchain and crypto as the future of money, a lot of people were saying it's hearsay, right? It's just some, sham and talk that it would never happen. Then in 2017, when Bitcoin pumped up and crossed $20,000, people called it a bubble, right? A giant bubble that is going to burst, right? But beyond the speculations of whether it is bubble or not, which is directly attached to the financial aspect of the blockchain or cryptocurrency, there is this reality that people have failed to pay attention to, and that is the fact that money has always been in motion since the creation of man, right? There has been need for transactions to happen, for people to make payments for services and stuffs, right? And over time, it has evolved. If you look back, you see there was a time it was trade by barter. Even in the Bible days, you see that Abraham was rich in cattle and sheep, in camel, and he could exchange that. That was what his wealth was made of, right? If you want to know who is rich, you check who has, a multitude of some of these livestock, and people who have multitude of grains and food, right? And that is the reason why the Israelites, when there was famine, they went to Egypt and they were using their manservant and maidservant and grains and cattle, some of those kind of stuff to pay, and silver rather. Yeah, back then people started using silver and gold to quantify wealth, right? So what they paid with was silver and gold. That was what they used to quantify money, right? And Jesus was also sold for silver, shekels of silver and gold. And fast forward to the era when it was changed to what do you call it? To paper, right? To promissory notes and paper. And that was the era when everything that is happening now started. I just needed to take you back in time so that you have a basic understanding of where we are coming from, to understand that money has actually been in transition all these years, right? And then how did it move from gold and silver into promissory notes and bank notes, as you call it? That is the cash and fiat you have in your bank account today. That was as a result of something. There was a war. I think it was World War II. And a lot of people before then held their gold in a vault with America. So America was holding gold and for different countries. So you just take your gold there and then it is held there, because you can't carry your gold around everywhere you're going. It's risky, it's heavy, and you could actually lose it. And people kept it there. But during the war, America was financing the war. And so of course, when you keep your gold with America, they will give you dollar. And each dollar was backed by gold. So if you have the dollar, it has a value attached to it, right? Based on how many grams of gold you have, right? So as a country, not as a people. And so during the war, America printed much more gold, much more dollar, fiat money, to finance the war, more than the amount of gold they had in their vault. So normally it's supposed to be that whenever you go back to America, to the vault, to get your gold back, you simply give them back your dollar and they will give you gold, okay, based on the amount of dollar you gave to them. And then after the war, because they had printed so much amount of dollars to finance the war, they had much more dollars in circulation than the amount of gold they had in reserve. So different countries, especially Germany, that was supplying the ammunition that America paid mostly for their services during the war, came back to America to return the dollar in order to get their gold back. But America could not produce all this gold because they had much more dollar than the gold. So if they should give back the gold to Germany and these other countries that gave it to them, what would happen is that they will run out of gold. And of course, you can't mint more gold. You can't get gold apart from, it's not easy to get it. So President Nixon and Kissinger, now these are the two people who were in charge of Nixon was the president of America at the time, and Kissinger was someone who was, running some aspect of the financial part of America. So they had a meeting and they decided that they are going to do something in order to stop, in order to add value to the dollar and make people want to hold dollar instead of gold. And what did they do? Those days, there were two golds, right? The real gold, which is the natural gold, and the one they call the liquid gold. So if you're on this call, I want you to write on the chat box, what is liquid gold? If you know what the liquid gold is, I want you to type it on the chat box. Liquid gold. What is liquid gold? Crude oil, thank you. So back in the days, there was a new invention, or a new stuff that was just discovered, or a new discovery, and that was the crude oil, right? It's been there for years. America was patronizing, Iraq was patronizing Saudi Arabia and other countries with dollars, right? They used to take a lot of dollars to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and every country that had crude oil had the potential of soon becoming world power. Now, because, America really didn't have anything to offer as much as that, because at that time, the oil was something that every industry, that was at the wake of the Industrial Revolution, right? Every country, give me a minute. All right, sorry for that. Someone kept calling me. All right, so the liquid gold, right? Countries like Nigeria, like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Libya had it in massive volumes, and that was at the wake of the Industrial Revolution. Now, during the Industrial Revolution, every industry, electricity was just discovered, and there was alternating current and AC and DC, right? So, crude oil played a huge role there. People were, realizing they could make plastic buckets, they could design they could do almost everything with the crude oil. Crude oil, from there you could produce gas. So any country that had crude oil had the potential, including Nigeria. There was a documentary I was watching where there were, America, in CNN, they actually said it, that Nigeria had the potential of becoming a world power at some point if they continued with the way they were growing. And that was, because of crude oil. So what America did was, since we can't have the whole gold, right? And we can't convince all the countries that we are holding their gold to not to attack us because we can no longer give them back their gold, we're going to use a different tactic to make them to hold US dollars, because the dollars that was printed has already circulated all over the world, and both the ones that the countries we are holding, in nations for the gold that they give to America, and the ones that was overprinted during the war, right? And then he sent Kissinger to, have a meeting at Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia was the biggest producer of crude oil then, because every year, once in a while, new deposits of oil are discovered in different places. So at that time, Saudi Arabia had the highest deposit of oil globally. So what America did was reach out to them, had a meeting with them, and told them, hey, we're going to do something with you. We're going to become allies. You see this word ally, right? It's a plight. It's an approach used by America to get people to do things against their will while they take control, right? And America was world power back then. So, they didn't want to lose that power. So they convinced the president of Saudi Arabia that if they agree that crude oil can only be purchased with the US dollars, if they agree that crude oil should only be purchasable with US dollars, then they're going to become their ally. If anybody looks for their trouble, America would fight for them. They are going to supply them whatever they need, and they are going to be their friends. So come and be my friend. I'm going to fight for you. I have what power. See, whatever I say, people listen and they hear me. And all I want you to do is agree that this useless, remember at that point, US dollars was already worthless because the only value it could hold was the amount of gold that was available in the vault, right? So accept this notes in exchange for crude oil and I'll be your friend. Saudi Arabia agreed. Remember, there's already an excess of dollars outside. So when people now come to buy crude oil with euros or any other currency, Saudi Arabia would say, no, we only accept US dollars. So because of that, every country that had US dollars started patronizing Saudi Arabia and probably obviously started selling cheaper than other people. So that made other people that were selling oil to start going into deficits because nobody was buying from them. Now, as a business, or countries that depend on crude oil for their business, they all decided to start accepting US dollars as well, so that they'll start attracting customers. So with that, once you agree, those countries, including Nigeria, of course, we now have what's called OPEC, right? That is in charge of all the African countries, that is, into crude oil. So if you agree with that, then you are going to sign a pact with America. And with this pact, America becomes your friend and your ally. Nigeria, America is also our friend and our ally. So you can imagine. So they become your ally, and you must start only accepting US dollars for your oil. Now, what does this mean to the currencies of those countries? It means that their currencies became useless as far as US dollars, as far as oil, crude oil is concerned. Now, this would explain to you the reason why the value, the scarcity of oil in Nigeria is not as a result of the fact that we produce oil. The value of oil in Nigeria is not as a result, is not determined by the fact that we produce the oil. It's not determined by Naira. It's determined by dollars, right? Because Nigeria now makes, like these countries that have these situations, they don't refine their oil anymore. You make you get the oil from the deposits, you export it to America, they do their thing, and they sell it back to you in US dollars, right? Because it has to be purchased. So if other countries are also coming to buy Nigeria's crude oil, they have to pay in dollars, not in in Naira, which is our currency. Now, what that means is that 70% of the total US dollars in circulation that has ever been printed is currently outside America. The total amount of US dollars available in America is not up to 30% of the total supply of US dollars. So they keep the circulation in US very minimal, very, very minimal, while the rest keeps circulating outside America. So it's safe for me to tell you today that the United States of America has the highest level of inflation in terms of dollar prints, in terms of money in circulation. If every country that is holding US dollars decide to take these dollars back to America, what would happen is that the value of US dollar will crash. It will crash. It will crash. It will no longer have value, in terms of global trade and what have you. And so what is holding the value of US dollar, like I said, is the fact that countries need these US dollars in their reserve to be able to pay for crude oil, even though they produce those crude oils. So countries that are so powerful, like Nigeria, because they have this crude oil, never enjoyed that era when the natural resource that God gave them to be powerful could have been utilized, because they signed out their destiny to countries, to America that was smarter, to take advantage of that early enough. And now the world is moving ahead of or outside the spheres of crude oil into several other avenues that can aid in electricity and other things that crude oil was providing. Like we're talking about sustainable energy, we're talking about green house effects of all this smoke and all these things that are emitted through crude oil and stuff, right? So in the future, we may not be depending so much on crude oil. So countries like that have missed out on the whole era. But I don't want to spend too much time on that. The point I'm trying to make is that every country that ever stood up against this deceits that happened, and if you're from America and you're on this call, please permit me and forgive me. The truth has to be said, right? Every country that ever that decides that they are no longer happy about this situation and decides to step out or to speak out, America attacks them. America sees them as an enemy and finds a different conspiracy theory that they will hinge upon and kill this very person, that person that is speaking out. In order to, they'll just scatter the sheep, scatter the people. They will make you lose trust in your presidency, in your government. They will use media and different methods to make you see them as a good people, and the people who are actually fighting for you as the bad people, and then they will scatter you entirely. One good example is Saddam Hussein of Iraq. So who knows Saddam Hussein? Who was Saddam Hussein? What was he popularly known as? Someone should type it on the chat box. Saddam Hussein. What was he popularly known for or as? Somebody should say something. Terrorist, thank you. Terrorist. He was labeled a terrorist. He was attacked, right? America found a way to claim that Iraq had what we call ballistic missiles, and that they were killing their people, and they attacked. So the years were before he stood up. So what Saddam Hussein was saying is that we want our people, because they were producing enough oil, right? So it's either people buy this oil from them. In fact, they are no longer going to stand with America on that aspect of they call it petrodollar. Petrodollar. So this US dollar you see now, it has an equivalent called petrodollar, which for every dollar that is backed by oil. Oil that America does not own, oil that is owned by other countries, right? So he stood up, America labeled him terrorist, attacked him, destroyed his country, and killed him. And so that they can retain that power. And to today, there is still conflict going on in Iraq, because nobody should ever question or stop America from being world power. If any country or any individual stands up and succeeds with that, with pulling out from that agreement, what would happen is that other countries' eyes would open, and they will also stand up to revolt against America. So immediately, anybody, stands up to his rights and says something about this situation, America attacks them before any other person would stand up. So I don't want to mention several other countries, but the second, I will only explain three. The second country that did this was Libya. Who was the president of Libya? Someone should put it up on the chat box.
Muammar Gaddafi.
No, just type it on the chat box. Muammar Gaddafi. So what happened? He was killed. Why was he killed? He stood up and said, they have enough oil. I mean, Libya was doing well. Libya was a very old country with their own technology, had their stuff, had their oil. They had enough oil. If his own plan was that let everybody be, within the European zone, be able to buy oil with euros, because, there is a lot of, the Eurozone is very large, right? It's very wide and very large. So if all these countries come together and decide that we are going to be trading oil against euros, the value of euro is going to climb. It's going to be stronger than US dollars, because it's not much, remember that the intention of the US the intention of President Nixon and Kissinger was to sink in all the excess US dollars that was in circulation, that was available, into the hands of different countries, neutralize their own currency and take over their natural resources, right? But the intent of Gaddafi was to strengthen the euros. So euros was not yet, excessive in circulation. So if he had succeeded with that, his movement or his plan, what would have happened is that within a short period of time, US dollars will be too cheap, like against euros, and several other countries' value, currency value will be much more than that of US dollars. And then America, of course, would lose their world power. But then immediately Gaddafi stood up to speak. He was labeled a terrorist and he was killed. His country has been messed up till now, and there's no peace there yet. And the last one I'm going to mention is that of Russia. Do you know the reason why the current war that is happening between Russia and what do you call them? And what's the name of this country again? Someone should put it on the chat box.
Ukraine.
So the current war, Ukraine, thank you. The current war is not as a result of what the media is telling you, what the people is being made to see through conspiracy theory. It is as a result of this same thing that has happened over time. America does not want to lose power. Currently, Russia is the highest producer of crude oil, highest supplier when it comes to crude oil. They supply Germany, they supply several other countries, right? And Putin had stood up, and he's speaking against that. This is the real story, the real situation, the real reason why America. So Putin has been talking against this thing, and new countries that have a government that changes every 4 years, as America has instituted. Remember, it's America that came up with that democracy, pattern of rule. Before they came, even Nigeria and Africa, we had what we call monarchy. We had kings and people who ruled us for years. And They ruled for years. They handed over to to the next generation, who probably their children that they groomed from birth. They told them. So that kind of rule, right, is more potent, because the children of the kings knew the whole story from their father. They usually tell them the stories of things, right, from the way they knew it from their forefather and their great grandfather and their great 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 grandfather. So every new king know more than even their previous fathers, and they knew more than the people that they were ruling. So they know the reason why there is a dispute between their country, their village, and the next village, the dispute between this and that, right? But when it comes to democracy, it was based on, okay, rule of the people by the people. Even what do you call it? Monarchy was rule of the people by the people to the people, even though it's by generations, right? But they had, chiefs and people who had to vote for things to be done before those things were implemented. But let me not go into that. It's another story for another day. But the point is that countries like Russia, of course, that the president have been there for years. Gaddafi, that have been there for years. What do you call him? Saddam Hussein, that was there for years. These people knew and understood the power that is being played by America over countries that have oil, right? So they could speak out. Okay, so this is what Putin has been trying to fight against. They have had several meetings and what have you, and they were being played all along. So what America now started doing, listen, for countries like like Iraq, they did not have as powerful a military base, right? And ballistic weapons as America. So it was easy for America to come up with a conspiracy against them and attack them, invade them. In fact, they usually cause conflict between their neighbors. So America will now come in as though they are coming to help, resolve the conflict, and then they will carry out what they want to carry out. So just have that in mind, right? So they attacked them. And in the case of Muammar Gaddafi, there was no sophisticated weapon, right? They simply attacked and they killed him. But in the case of Putin, Putin knew all along, and he started building enough military base. They have much more ballistic weapons than America. So when it comes to world power in terms of military strength, Putin and Russia is more powerful than America. So America cannot just attack Russia directly. They needed to come and gather intelligence. They needed to come close and pay attention to find ways to destabilize Russia before attacking. So what they did was they went to the neighbor of Russia, which was like the same country with Russia before like they separated. Russia, Ukraine, all of them were under one umbrella called USSR, and they separated. So Russia stayed alone and Ukraine stayed alone. So America went to Ukraine and said, you will be the same pattern, the same way, let's sign this agreement that I'm going to be your friend. You don't have enough military facilities. If Ukraine decides to attack you tomorrow, now how will you defend yourself? You understand? They couldn't, they agreed. So we are going to agree with you. They called it NATO. So the goal, NATO was like a body that would include all the neighbors of Ukraine, of Russia. And being a smart man, I'm not in any way, saying that war is good. I condemn every act of war or violence, but sometimes it's good to know and understand things so that you'll be equipped, right? Remember that I'm taking enough time to explain these things, but we are gearing towards you understanding how to take advantage of this situation. But if you don't have the proper knowledge, there's no way you'll be able to take the advantage properly as you should. If you are enjoying this session till now, put up some fire emoji on the chat box. Put up some fire emoji on the chat box. Put up fire emoji on the chat box if you're enjoying this session up to this point. All right. So they went to, thank you. They went to make them agree to that agreement. And Russia knew that if they succeed, same way Saddam Hussein was killed, same way, all these other people were attacked, that is the same way America would change the whole situation around and attack them. And of course, they're going to form allies with their neighbors. So it's easy to invade, even though Russia has enough military power, right? Imagine than America has less. So with NATO, America is going to partner up with all those other countries, and together they will have much more than Russia. And they will tell Russia, they will tell him, you are not going anywhere with this, your plan of insisting that US dollars will not be the currency for your own oil, right? This is what is causing this war. That's what is causing this war. And what is going on now is that, Putin insisted that, you shouldn't put up your military base in my borders. Don't encroach in any way. Don't. They claimed it's NATO. We are just being friendly with your neighbors. He said, imagine that, I think the clear analogy is this, right? You stay in the city. And you have a neighbor that stays just right opposite your room. Once he opens his door, he's looking at your door. Once you open your door, you are looking at his door. So if two of you open your doors, it's just like a passage. So he can easily come to your room and you can go to his room. So that's your neighbor. That's how close your neighbor is. They call it next door neighbor, right? And then you have somebody in the village people. I don't want to say an uncle or an auntie, maybe somebody in the village that does not want your good. You know that whenever you go to the village, you hear stories that this person his hand was in the death of Mr. A. His hand is in the death of Mr. B, Mr. C. So you know that this person should be avoided by all costs, right? And then one day you hear that your next door neighbor is now friends with that your village person. How will you feel? And then not just that he's now friends with your village person. First of all, if you're friends with him, you will just be very careful with him first, or you may not attack him. But how about you hear that next week on Monday or on Sunday, that village person that you are very careful about is coming to now live permanently with your neighbor? What will you do? Put up your comment in the chat box. What will you do? See, before you people team up to kill me, I will kill you first. Because I know that, my life is now in danger. Because, I won't even run. If all my property, my wealth, everything is in that room. Bro, I'll call police for you. I may not shoot you, I may not kill you, but I'll call police for you. Before the village person come, he hasn't come. He's not yet there. You just heard about it. You only heard about it, that he's going to come. You will just go and make report in the police station and tell them to come and arrest this person first of all, so that he will not even be there. Then you make a report to your pastor to even pray for you before the champ starts coming all the way from the village. Then after that, you now equip yourself. You may even put burglary proof and put everything and be ready for fight. This is exactly the current situation with Russia and Ukraine. So this should clear your eye for you to understand. So if somebody asks you why is the war happening? At least you'll be able to understand very clearly and explain, right? And so while Russia is defending themselves, if you research about this war, you'll see that Russia is not killing people. It's not even killing the military. Of course, in war, there's something called collateral damage, right? Collateral damage is there are victims of war where two persons are fighting, right, for something. Somebody that is just within that environment may be injured. So that is what we call collateral damage, coined by America, okay? So, but they are victims of war. So those victims of war are like military people who are maybe in the plane and they are fighting, or people that are passing and stray bullets, or maybe but Russia is not attacking the people. What Russia started with, first of all, was attacking the warehouses that had the guns and the ammunitions for the Ukrainian people and all their military bases. They attacked their airport also, so that they will ground all their flights and everything. So by taking down all those things, I think the last major attack they did was on their what do you call it? Something station, power station or something like that. And the explosion was massive, right? So that's what Russia is doing currently. They are not fighting the people. So because if they take down all their military powers, if they take down all those power, it means they have conquered the people, the country on its own. Then they will not be ready for America and other people that want to invade them, while also preparing their internal infrastructures. Their telecommunication, right now, Russia is withdrawing from the normal internet because America has monopoly of that, and they have switched them off. So Russia is prepared. They have their own internet right now, and they'll have internet access within themselves there, right? America cut them off from. So let's now move to the financial aspect, right? Because I mean, you see, the reason why research is very important, right? And for you to be part of sessions like this, for you to learn things. But because of want of time, I won't be able to explain a whole lot of stuff. Let's now talk about how this affects and the financial aspect and how you can take advantage of it for real. Okay, how can you take advantage of it? Yeah, nuclear power plants. Thank you. How can you take advantage of this for real? What does it mean? What does it mean to you? And how can you take advantage of it for real? So, a new era for digital money. Remember, I started my story by explaining to you that money has moved. It has changed from one form to another, right? And there's usually one thing that validates that this movement is due. One thing, when it was switched from gold to dollar, remember what happened? It was war. And there was excess printing of US dollars. Of course, they had to now sign those pacts and made people to start accepting US dollars. And of course, that's what gave rise to, the digital bank-to-bank transfer, ATM card. That is in a way to create an easy way for people to spend their dollars conveniently, right? So this war and this current situation has opened people's eyes. In the last couple of, I think it was about 1 week, a month ago or so, or more, right? There was a conflict in Canada, and it was truckers. They were protesting against the government, and for a protest to make sense, to be fruitful, money would be spent. So those truckers were getting donations in US dollars, right? And they were also spending their money from the bank account to fund the protest. America shut down their bank accounts and stopped them from accessing their money. So people started donating to them with Bitcoin. People started donating to them in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. that validated the value of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Censorship resistant, government cannot stop them, and they could do what they wanted to do. There are people accepting this money, so they became sovereign financially. Okay. Remember back in, I think 2 years ago, when there was a protest, the SARS protest, the Nigerian youths were protesting against, how, the Nigerian governments were treating people badly, and people's bank accounts were shut down, and the protest was financed or sponsored with donations in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Again, another validation, right? This current war that is happening now, Ukraine being the oppressed, right? Their bank accounts and their financial system has been tampered with because of the war, right? And of course, when there is war, ongoing war, the value of whatever currency the country is using becomes useless. If there is war in Nigeria now, right now, all the money you have in your bank account becomes useless. You can't spend it in Nigeria. The banking network will be disconnected. It won't be functional. If you decide to run away with the money from Nigeria, even now there is no war. If you carry your naira outside Nigeria, it's useless. Not to talk of when there is war. So you can't even pay for foreign aid with the naira, right? So that's another validation that the fiat currency era is dying, is dead. As a matter of fact, the final 2 points is that Ukraine automatically declared that that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is now valid in Russia. And so far, they have received more than $50 million in donation from people all around the world, and they are currently enjoying financial sovereignty. Same is happening in El Salvador. Even before even without any war, they decided to take advantage of the blockchain system, and now they are financially sovereign when it comes to their financial fortification. So even if the American government cuts them off financially, they still have a healthy money to spend within El Salvador and around the world without any censorship, right? Brazil is going to do the same. Several other countries are watching. People are not blind. They are seeing what is going on, and they are gradually learning from what other people are doing. Now, Russia is currently financially bankrupt because of the war. I mean, the value of Russian rubles have totally been depleted. And of course, they can't spend it globally. Even though they are working on an interbanking network between them and China. I want to tell you, as blockchain oracle, in a couple of months, you will realize that because they are trying to connect with China, the major currency they are going to transact among themselves is going to be powered by a blockchain. Write it somewhere. China is working on their own digital yuan, which is currently available. But this banking network stuff is going to be validated, right? It's going to validate it. This banking network issue they are having with, they are trying to connect with Russia, right? It's going to validate the yuan and make them to activate that immediately. And other countries that are doing businesses with Russia, because Russia is still the biggest supplier of crude oil, they are going to now start using cryptocurrency as a network. It may be a private blockchain or something like that, but it's going to validate that. And we are going to see a new wave of mass adoption of blockchain and cryptocurrency in coming months. And it's because Russia is involved, and the new forms of currency like Bitcoin and yuan, and maybe they are going to create their own as well, is going to be usable to purchase the Russian oil, crude oil, right? What will happen is that other countries that also supply oil or have oil will gradually start detaching from the US dollars. So it means doom for the US dollars. It means that people are going to gradually start rejecting US dollars. And to crown it all, in the last 1 year, in the last 1 year, take note of this, America has printed over 40% more US dollars and injected it into the economy than ever before. I mean, the entire circulation of US dollars before was 100%, but over, scores of years. And in just 1 year, because of COVID-19, America printed more than 40% of that available amount and injected it into the economy as palliative and giveaways to the people. So the currency is already having that kind of excess supply in the market. Not to talk of when all these other countries start detaching. What will happen is that US dollar is going to crash massively. It's going to crash massively. It's going to crash massively. And when it crashes, America loses their world power because they would have lost their war against, like the whole world, everybody's eye is gradually opening, right, with what is happening. So they won the war against Muammar Gaddafi. They won the war against Saddam Hussein and other people that were, different conflicts. And, I don't know, but whatever is happening in Nigeria now, Boko Haram and all these things, America has a hand in it. America has a hand in it. But I don't want to go there as well. Okay, because what they do is they plant, different. If not, why haven't Nigeria won the war against Boko Haram and all these terrorists and even other countries? Is it that are they ghosts? Somebody is funding them. Someone is funding them. Someone is giving them the power to operate. Are you getting it? So, I have only 5 minutes to round off. But the point I'm trying to make is that when all the other countries start detaching, America will lose their power, their global power, right? That's number one. They'll lose their place as what, because now they are forming different coalitions now. China is with Russia. Several other countries that understand what is going on is standing with Russia. Maybe not publicly, but very soon you will know. Okay. So with all those things happening now, it means that America, there will now be, because now America had control of SWIFT. SWIFT was the stuff that controlled the global financial system. I mean, when it comes to global remittance, right? So they cut off Russia. Russia have created their own and they are connecting with China. So you'll be shocked that there will be two different forms of financial system. The one controlled by America and the one controlled by Russia, China, and other countries. So with that form of control, if they include, because of this war now, blockchain will be a very viable factor, right? It's going to be a very viable factor. So they will integrate blockchain on it. So meaning that there will be one fully powered by blockchain and there's one fully powered by let me know if I say D, T-H-E, it will confuse you. Centralized America. A centralized ecosystem, financial ecosystem controlled by America that they can easily switch you off, like they switched off that of Canada. They can easily switch you off like they switched off Russia during the war. You understand? We are imposing sanctions. They are switching you off because they have control. Do you understand? So people are seeing the destructive aspect of centralization. And guess the one people will plug into, the one that does not have that kind of, destructive nature, which is decentralized. So in 2 minutes, rounding off, money is changing. Money is moving from one era to another. And right in our very presence, we are witnessing it. We are not there when it changed from gold to the fiat currency, but we are currently watching it and we are in the midst of this era. We're in the midst of everything. We are currently having this new technology in our beck and call, right? And what do you do with this information? What do you do with it? Stay focused on what you're doing. Learn more about blockchain. Be part of communities. Be part of Grind Earn. Be part of Boundless Pay. let me tell you one more thing, and something just came to my mind. On 4th of February, if I'm not mistaken, 2022, I made a prophecy every year. I'm not a prophet. Yes, I'm called Blockchain Oracle. Yeah, I'm a prophet. The Bible said that we are prophets. Yes, I'm a prophet. I'm a prophet. But the reason I'm called Blockchain Oracle is because every year, every time, somehow I have a different form of insights to things, especially before they happen, especially in the financial market before they happen. That's why I'm called Blockchain Oracle, right? So last year, I made a prophecy into what may happen during the year. All of them happened. All of them happened. Some of them are becoming even more evident this year. Yes, I'm a prophet. Thank you for that reminder, right? All of them are becoming more evident this year, right? So go and check on my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. You will see my prophecy for the year, for this year, on I think it was on 4th. Before the war started, before these things started happening, I said, how are the mighty fallen? I said, USA, how are the mighty fallen? I didn't know. I was just doing my thing. And that came to my mind. And I went to the reason I use Twitter for my prophecies is that in Twitter, you can't delete, you can't edit. I can't go to Twitter now and change. Maybe I see that something is happening. People do it a lot on Facebook. They will now say there was a prophecy on so dates by so pastor. You go and check it. It was edited. Not all of them, but some of them. Sorry, give me a minute. Hello. Yeah, hello. Okay. Yeah, come to my apartment. Not Oxford Tower, Oxford Building. Thank you. All right, sorry, it's delivery man. I requested for something, so I can't skip him. Sorry for that. So I said it that on the 4th, I can't remember the day exactly, but I said that how are the mighty fallen? I said that America is going to lose their world power even before this thing started happening. Yes, it has started happening right and very before. So one prophecy ticked off. A couple of other ones have been ticked off already, and a lot of other ones are. I also said a whole lot about the metaverse. In fact, what the delivery man is bringing for me, I ordered for my Oculus glasses because I want to do a whole lot on the metaverse. We are building something on in my company, Boundless Nexus, and we are building like an experience. We are trying to build an experience on the metaverse. So I'm getting a VR this thing. I'm going to share it on my status and stuff when it comes. So I hope maybe some of you would be able to get your own and can have meetings and sessions like this in the metaverse. Okay, so I made that prophecy. So the final thing I'm trying to say is that, right, be part of communities, be part of sessions like this, have a mentor, someone that you follow, you listen to, you will learn, you gain insights of things. Don't be a passive person when the world is changing right in front of you. So forget about the current price of coins, right? Forget about all those things. Look for gems, hidden gems in the blockchain space and be part of it, especially the one that is related to people that know where the world is going, right? We are building in Boundless Pay, my company. We are building the future of crypto bank, that is Boundless Pay, and then we are building something around metaverse and NFTs using our token, Nexus token. So take advantage of that. Make sure you don't miss out on the Nexus token. Don't miss out. Even if you can't get in on the private sale, get in on the public sale. Get people you know. Be an evangelist of what we are talking about. Get people to get in on Nexus token on the public sale, which is coming up on 28th of this month on different launch pads. So different marketing materials is going to be out. You can publish it, you can post it, and be part of the movement. A link has been shared for our community here. So join the community, and from there you can also join the Boundless Faith community. Grind, thank you for having me today. I love you all. Unfortunately, I will not be able to take questions, and we only have Money Monday once every month. So the next time we'll have Money Monday is going to be next month. So stay in touch. I would have loved for us to have one more before that, but I'm going to be having other sessions outside this, right? I'm going to be having other sessions. So if you're not in my masterclass group, Raphael, Isaac, you can also post the link to my masterclass group. I don't talk too much there. I don't post too much there, but any session I post there, try to be part of it. This is how you get informed. Remember, if you are not informed, you are blind. Thank you all and have a great day ahead.